Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Iron Archer Studios. My name is Jasant, and today we are tackling one of DC's most beloved and fan favorite characters, and that is Redhood. Now, what do I mean by tackling this character? Well, I'm making a series of how I incorporate these fan favorite characters, or just characters that I want in the new DCU, the James Gunn universe, if we're calling it that. James Gunn, if you're listening to this, well, one, thank you for taking your time, and, well, hopefully you take some things because I think I have some good ideas, man. Last week I did make a video on how I'm incorporating Nightwing into this universe, so if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. And also, like last week, I'm going to try and stay away from anything that James Gunn probably already obviously knows. Redhood is a beloved character, so there's no doubt in my mind that he already knows a bunch of things for Redhood. So what I'm doing with this series is more mentioning of how I want storylines to go, how I want characters to be incorporated, etc, etc. This is my creative dump on James Gunn, and I hope he enjoys because, well, I think I have some pretty good ideas, like I said. But enough with the blabbering, let's jump right in with the introduction. Now, unlike Nightwing, I don't want Redhood to be already a character or introduced into this universe. The reason for that is because we're going to be following two storylines. The first one is under the Red Hood. That's his introduction. That is the whole origin story for Red Hood. James Gunn has already mentioned that in Brave and the Bold, we're already going to have members of the Bat family introduced or set up in that film. So I'm hoping that it's just Nightwing. I'm hoping that it's just Batgirl, Tim Drake, characters like that. We already know we're getting Damian Wayne in that series. So I'm hoping Red Hood is not in that. Now, after Brave and the Bold, I want the second Batman film to be Red Hood, under the Red Hood, or Death in the Family. Maybe let's stay away from Death in the Family, but under the Red Hood. We are going to be swapping some things out and keeping some things in, but let's start off with the main characters, which for me, the four main characters are Batman, Red Hood, Joker, and Black Mask. This is where we get into the bumpy ride, and stick with me because I promise I'll make it all make sense and sound somewhat good. I want to replace Black Mask and Joker from this film. Now, I still want the reason for Red Hood to be Joker. I still want that to be the origin of Red Hood. I still want that to be maybe not show the scene, but just kind of tell the stories of it. Just mention that, well, Joker is the reason for Red Hood. But for Joker to be in the second act, the third act, and the final act, I want him out. The reason I'm getting rid of Black Mask from the story is because I still want him, but not in this storyline. And again, stick with me. And then the side characters will be Alfred, Nightwing, and Ra's al Ghul. So for Black Mask in this film, I'm going to be swapping him out with Penguin and Two-Face. Now, the reason for this is because I feel like we can still create a pretty good conflict and a pretty similar conflict with what Black Mask does with what these two characters can do. Now, I want them to have their own little storyline, not enough to where it deviates from the origin or from the whole purpose of what I want this movie to be, but what I believe these two characters can do as a war or as a partnership is create chaos and devastation in Gotham City. Jason Todd needs to prove to Batman Bruce Wayne that he is a better Batman than he will ever be. He will stop these crimes. Now, he doesn't have a limit to how he stops these crimes, but he will stop these crimes. And like I said, I believe that Penguin and Two-Face can create great devastation for Gotham City, that either being in a, again, partnership where they are well balanced and they are ruling the city as partners with both of their gangs combined, or at a war, creating even more conflict. I definitely want this to be more of a grounded Gotham City, not like the Batman, not like Matt Reeves' Batman. I want it to be a little more grounded, but still have that DC universe behind it, if that makes sense. Joker is where we get a little tricky. Now, the reason I'm getting rid of Joker in this film is because I don't want him in this universe just yet. I think that we can wait for the third movie, or I think that we can just wait a little longer. I think we've gotten too many versions of the Joker right now to already have him in the first one, already have him in the second one. We're possibly getting him in Matt Reeves. We have the Elseworld storyline with Joaquin Phoenix, and then we just got done with Jared Leto, and well, a lot of people obviously still remember the past Jokers. So how do we get in Batman's head, Bruce Wayne's head, without using the Joker, without using the whole premise of the movie, essentially? And luckily for us, James Gunn, you brought me Damian Wayne. I want Jason Todd to know that the new Robin is Bruce Wayne's son. Before we get into the psychological aspect of how Red Hood is going to demolish Batman, the reason I'm going to state that how he knows is just simply because, well, Roz is in this storyline, and I'm going to keep Roz because, well, he's the one that resurrects Jason, and what I believe can maybe happen is instead of Jason fully escaping and just going ballistic immediately after being resurrected, I believe that Roz can somehow contain him for just a bit, maybe a couple years, have him go even more crazy, have him think all these different things, have him hear from the guards, have him hear all these things, see all these different things, maybe sneak out but never be able to fully get out to Gotham. And that's how he finds out that, well, Damian Wayne is a thing. Tim Drake has already been Robin. Nightwing is, well, Nightwing. Dick Grayson is Nightwing. I wanted to find out all these things and build this insanity in his head. And then once he finally escapes, then he can do all this training to become the Red Hood and blah, 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 blah. So now the psychological aspect. How do we get Damian Wayne to create the same energy that Joker did to Batman in Under the Red Hood in the original storyline? How do we get that into this movie? I want Red Hood to show Damian Wayne Batman's first ever grand failure, Jason Todd. So Red Hood, at the same time that he is showing Bruce Wayne he is a better Batman than he will ever be, he is also talking to his sidekick and breaking that trust, breaking the trust of sidekick, of fatherhood, of, you know, that little bond that they're going to build in the first movie, break it in the second one. I want Damian to never have known a single thing about Jason Todd. So that creates a little conflict of Bruce not telling Damian that he's had a Robin that died in his arms, a Robin that died in his watch, but also to see that, oh, Batman, Bruce Wayne, my dad, isn't that great of a hero. By the end of this movie, I want similar things to happen to what happens in the original storyline. So Red Hood is going to escape. He's not shown as dead nor alive, but we all know that he's going to come back and do his own thing. Damian, I want him to separate from Bruce Wayne and go over with Dick Grayson to the Teen Titans because, well, Dick says he has a couple friends that can help him out. And Bruce is, well, alone now, and by the next movie we can either bring back Damian Wayne, or we can bring back Tim Drake, or we can incorporate Cassandra Cain, we can incorporate Barbara Gordon. I don't fully know how he would end up moving forward, but my priority right now is Red Hood. And the reason for that is because after the Batman film that introduces Red Hood, I want a little series to kick off called The Outlaws. If you don't know who the Outlaws are, I'm familiar with two specific teams, so these are the two teams that I'm kind of grabbing from. So the main character that always stays is going to be Red Hood, and in the first team it is Red Hood, it is Starfire, and then Arsenal. The second team is Red Hood, Artemis, and then Bizarro. So, how am I going to do this? The series is something that we can maybe tackle a little further on into making more of these videos where I can create more stories and bring in more characters, but the main team that I want for this storyline and for this series is actually going to be a combination of both. So, obviously, Red Hood is still going to stay in there. I want Arsenal to come in because, well, if we're already getting Nightwing, Arsenal makes the most sense. He's grown up as, well, Nightwing. He has been that Green Arrow sidekick for a bit, and the girl that we're using in this will not be Starfire, it will be Artemis, and the reason simply for that is because we're already getting Paradise City or Paradise Island. I forgot the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about. So we're probably already going to get introduced to Artemis. Arsenal would make the most sense that he's already an established character, and Red Hood, like I said, he's in both teams, so we're obviously keeping him. So, the Outlaws is the series that I want after his introduction, but I mentioned Black Mask being still in Red Hood's future, and this is where he comes in, and this is where we stick to that whole universe, that chapter 1 that James Gunn talked about, gods and monsters. This is where Black Mask is going to create chaos. Now, I don't fully know yet if I want this to be a Gotham-based show, because Black Mask is a Gotham City kind of villain, but at the same time, I want a real badass Black Mask, and the Outlaws aren't really, stapled to Gotham City, so I think that if we move Black Mask into a different city, or just make him a wider kind of just wherever character, I think that's where we can get some real badass energy out of this show. So what I basically want, this kind of just short little premise, is going to be Black Mask is at the top, and he is sending villains, metahumans, superhumans, whatever you want to call them, towards him. Now, this is where we can also involve Artemis and Red Hood and make a little love interest for Red Hood, or we can just make it a cool, awesome, dope, team series and not include any love interest, but I'm sure we're going to include some love interest. So I think Artemis and Red Hood would go pretty well together. Black Mask sending super meta human villains towards to get them, and then at the end of the series they deal with Black Mask, and he isn't going to be some simple villain to beat. He's going to have his huge, Wilson Fisk type-esque office, bodyguards, guns everywhere. He knows how to plop on him too. You know what I'm saying? Black Mask is going to be a badass in this, not what we got in the Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, sorry, Birds of Prey movie. We're not going to even talk about that. This is where we're going to get him. This is where we're going to get a real super sick Black Mask, the Outlaw series. But that is all I have today, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my little creativity for his introduction, for what we can do further on in his story, and what I have kind of planned for these characters that they're kind of combining. And we're going to get more news eventually for what James Gunn is actually going to do. So I'm going to have to maneuver and do little swerves around how I've been saying things, and we'll work around it. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this one and the Nightwing one. Comment down below what other character you guys want to see in the DCU. I will bring that character to the DCU, give them a good storyline, give them a good I don't know. But if you guys want to leave a comment down below, leave a comment down below. Remember to like and subscribe. My name is joseantatvig. That is it for today's video. Bye-bye.